Just getting warmed up by doing some one-handed push-ups with the microphone in my hand. One.
Whoa, dude. You make that look so easy. Like, the grunt. It's awful to listen to in my ears. So much bass.
5.
This is how he gets ready. Every time.
Every episode is how I do it.
He does 5 one-arm push-ups with the microphone in his hand.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MoxStars podcast. I'm here with my good friend Jordan Garcia.
Yo, what up?
And Christopher Ritter.
Yo, what up?
Oh, that's right. He's not here today. It's just Jordan and I. Evan, you're one of your hosts. And today we're doing part 2 of the March of the Machine Madness. It is our part 2 of 2 of this limited little set review we're doing. And I'm talking so fast because we're going to go through it so fucking fast.
This is the energy we're fucking bringing today.
What we're bringing today. So, if you want to know more about the show, you can find all those details in the description below. And make sure to follow us on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes. You can also find us on most every single podcast platform.
Rate us on your podcast platform. Rate us on your podcast platform.
Yes, we need it for the algorithm.
The algorithm.
All praise the algorithm.
All right, we don't have time for this shit.
Oh.
Evan, we're talking about Black.
Sorry, I got sidetracked.
March of the Machines.
Yep, we're diving right in. What are you starting with, Jay?
All right, we are talking about... Let's just get the
quick sidetrack.
Hit me.
Shout out to our new listener, Rick, who just started playing Magic. What up, Rick?
What up? Welcome, dude. Don't take the fact that we're jaded as a means to not get into Magic. It's a great game. All right, I think each color, we're already talking about all of these Praetors, so we might as well just start there and get that the easy one off.
Oh, yeah.
All right, hit me with this little shouldered biddy.
All right, 5 mana, 3 and 2 black, legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. It is a 4/5 with menace, and then whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker. You can pay 4 and a black, exile Shieldred, then return it transformed as a saga. It is the True Scriptures. The first trigger is going to be for each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls.
Damn.
The second, each opponent discards 3 cards, then mills 3 cards.
What the fuck?
And the third one, put all creatures from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control.
Would you like to have a win condition in the command zone?
And then you return it and flip it back over to Shieldred, where it says, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or planeswalker.
Dude, this would not be overpowered if it made you sacrifice it and put it back in the command zone if this was your commander.
No, it wouldn't be, because it's Rise of the Dark Realms on the Saga. That's what that third effect is.
I will say there's one caveat on the activation. There has to be 8 or more cards in an opponent's graveyard for you to activate it. But other than that one very small minor caveat, this is fucking powerful. This is insane.
I just don't...
And when it flips, it makes everybody sack again.
Yeah. It's really good.
It's like you will never keep anything on the board, and then I will just have everything. And you won't have to sack stuff because I'll own all the creatures.
The big thing is that, like we said it on the last episode, is that all these Praetors are self-sufficient in the way they feed themselves, right? Once you meet the conditions in order to flip it the first time, you're always going to have the conditions met to be able to flip it again.
Right.
So if you have 5 mana on that third trigger, which you should because it's the beginning of your turn, you can pay 5, flip it again, and then for each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls. They should still have 8 cards in their graveyard because you already got the second trigger from the Saga, which is each opponent discards 3 cards and then mills 3 cards. So you're just feeding the graveyard, and you're probably playing into a mill strategy.
Could you imagine having altars,
Oh, dude, Alter Dimension would be crazy.
Altar and stuff like that, and you're just sacrificing all the creatures you reanimated to flip it again.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking going.
Yeah.
What I do like about what you said is how they're all kind of self-sufficient and want to do their own thing and bring their own thing to the table. We're not exclusively talking about Commander, but these are great for Commanders because it lets you just build a whole deck to support this theme and strategy that's already happening. And for me, I love those kind of decks because it lets you play more of those unique cards because you're building into the ecosystem that this commander is already bringing to the table.
Yes.
Instead of just kind of forcing a strategy or forcing those pet cards, like this is a build around deck. And those are, I think, are some of the most fun ones.
Yeah, I think all of these, actually all these Praetors are probably are great build around decks. Like this one for sure. I don't know if this one has like a weight. Well, actually, I don't know. I was just thinking like, where does this fit in multiple formats? Because like standard, pioneer, and modern are, I don't know if they're going to like this, but
I think other Shouldered is already just running the table.
Right, but hear me out on this, right? Reanimation and cheating things out is
It's hot right now.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the craziest thing in the game. And like people are playing those big fatty decks where you can just like reanimate Atraxa. Is this a better option than Atraxa? No. Are you going to waste your mythic slot in Arena on this? You probably shouldn't.
Not with how many mythics that just came out.
Yeah, but this is a really good target still if you're playing probably like a budget reanimator deck.
Yeah, I think there's still room outside of Commander for this deck, for this card, but yeah, the other Shoulders is too good. It's 1 mana cheaper with a way higher impact.
Yeah, I just want everyone to like read this card again. It's like 5 mana, like for this effect of a 4/5 menace that makes each opponent sacrifice a non-token creature or planeswalker. Like that effect for 5 mana is insane.
Yeah, totally. Right? I mean, we were just talking like in Historic, right? Ragavan's now legal. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about that curve where it's just you get Ragavan on 1, you make the treasure on contact, so you get Fable on 2, you make your token, next turn you make contact with Ragavan, get the thing. Now all of a sudden, instead of curving into the 4 on turn 3, you're curving into 5. So usually you'd be curving into the other 4 mana Shouldered, but maybe now that new turn 3 5 mana curve is available, maybe this will see kind of a line of play because that's a pretty devastating line there.
Yeah, I like these cards. This is not a bad card. Like it will. The thing is that it will be compared side to side with these other Praetors forever, right? Like maybe a few years until it starts to stand in its own light. And when that does, like you're going to be looking at it now and you're going to go online, you're going to see the price. This card is less than $10 right now. It is less than $10. Wow. Okay? So if you are interested in this, in 3 years, I guarantee you it will not be less than $10.
Mm-hmm. And what I love is it does scale to Commander perfectly on the back side and on the front side. It says for each opponent on every ability.
Yep.
So it really does give you that kind of control aspect in a 4-player table. I will say, Evan, if we spend that much time on every single card, we are never going to get.
Well, these, yeah, you're right. But last thing I'll say is, if you haven't listened to our episode on MDFCs, I will make it known that Wizards of the Coast has made a pretty solid statement that they do not plan to put double-faced cards into pre-constructed decks. So there is a good chance that this won't see a reprint for a long time based on that principle that they've set in place.
Yeah, when does another standard legal print of this come out?
All right, next black card. Hoarding Broodlord.
Hoarding Broodlord. Let me take the lead on this bad bitch. Sorry for swearing. Hoarding Broodlord. It is 5 black. That's 8 freaking mana, dog. 7/6. It's a dragon.
Why are we talking about this? It must be a bad card for 8 mana.
It must be a bad card. 8 mana cards are bad cards, right? Well, one has Convoke, which historically making things cheaper is just a disgusting ability across the board. It's a flying 7/6, so if you do have it out, it's a beater.
Well, yeah.
And here's the sick ability. ETB, search a library for a card. That's it. Exile it face down, then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it. Spells you cast from exile have Convoke.
And so we're clear, this is a separate, that last line is a separate line of text. If you do not control the Hoarding Broodlord, spells you cast from exile do not have Convoke.
No, but you will be able to play the spell you exiled with the ETB search trigger.
You can still play it, yep.
You can still play it. Okay, so 1, Convoking it out, very much on the table, and that's a very powerful effect to have in Standard. You now have a Demonic Tutor in Standard, let alone stapled to such a huge body. Yep. But where this really comes in is exactly what you were just saying on the last card, that reanimation is becoming a disgustingly viable strategy right now in our meta. And this is, I think, one of the best things you can reanimate.
It's already better than Shieldred.
It's already better than Shieldred
because wins the game.
It wins you the game, right? A tutor in most decks, an unconditional tutor, is insane. I want to bring this up with another card, which is Saw in Half. this is where I think Saw in Half really starts to shine. And that's where this card I think really starts to shine, because there's a line now, and I think it'll only keep getting better. We'll figure out more. But a Saw in Half essentially lets you get 2 more triggers. So say this search trigger gets you Saw in Half. You then saw the dragon in half, getting 2 more search triggers.
Ridiculous.
You now have 2 8-mana creatures on the battlefield, correct? Well, then we get ourselves a Sacrifice, which is a 1 black instant that lets you sacrifice a creature and get black mana equal to its casting cost. And then you get a Peer into the Abyss, which happens to be 7 mana?
Yeah, it's 7.
So less than 8 mana.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a free Peer into the Abyss.
You get a free Peer into the Abyss. It's fucking awesome. And like the ceiling just keeps going up and up. You know, like we put this in different colors. That's a mono black line that just pulls out a win.
Yeah. I think the beautiful part here is that historically, when you play Peer into the Abyss in a competitive format, in CDH, more than likely in eternal formats, when you pull it off, you win the game. Picking up half your library and paying half your life is such a low cost. If you're at 2, you're paying 1, you're down to 1, but guess what? You've just won the game because you picked up half your library. So there's just so many different directions you can go. You have so much more information. You have so many more spells you're able to cast. You could theoretically play a Displacer Kitten and keep flickering the Broodlord if you didn't get what you need. You know, it's like you can still make those things happen. Like I see this, like you were talking about Saw in Half, right? With this is the combo, right? You're playing that, or what's that Grixis commander that combos with Saw in Half already?
Oh, Cormella.
So like this card can go into Cormella because you don't need to have Cormella on the battlefield. This is like redundancy because this just wins you the game.
Yeah, I mean, I even like, to that extent, I'm actually looking at putting Saw in Half in more Grixis decks just for some of the flexibility. Like in Evelyn, for example, because it's 2 Evelyn triggers at a bare minimum. Mm-hmm. If you have a Dockside that's double Docksides, all that kind of stuff. I would love to find a deck that plays Hoarding Broodlord and like a very serious CDH line. Just because I think with the Reanimator strategy is we're getting there. I think it's going to be really fucking good.
I think it's here. I think you can. The time is now, right? They're not going to print anything better than Animate Dead or Reanimate or whatever, right? And so you play this, and maybe you're already playing World Gorger lines. Maybe this is like a potential World Gorger line. But we got anything.
Last thought on this is I just want to say, like with saying like a CDH deck, the amazing thing is the spell has Convoke, right? So you get to get that sacrifice, and you get to cast a sacrifice just by tapping the dragon. So you can fully commit, you can fully tap out by 1 black mana to entomb something, 1 black mana to reanimate the Hoarding Broodlord, and that is all the mana you need to get where you're going.
Yes, that's a big thing here.
You need 1 more mana because you'll have to tap it to cast the Saw in Half.
Right. Yeah, as long as he comes in untapped, he can contribute to the mana for the spell.
Yeah.
Because he's black.
Yeah, so God, I just think that's such a viable line. The ability to have Convoke in addition to the tutor is just really what sends this above into a viable CDH card for me. Okay, we can move on now.
That's all I have for black cards, but I know you've got a couple more.
I have 1 more worth talking about, and that's just because these battles are new, and this one's kind of cool. It's Invasion of Innistrad. It is a flash 5 defense counter battle. And it says ETB, target creature and opponent controls gets -13. But then on the backside of it, I wanted to note that it's an enchantment that when he flips, ETB makes 2 zombies. And then 2 in a black, you can exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, make a 2/2 zombie.
Yeah, this won us a game in Two-Headed Giant.
It did. Notably, this just really feels like a standard legal Grave Titan to me, which I think is kind of cool. Like, Grave Titan seems like a good card.
Yeah, I think that you're not too far off here because if there's any way to flicker this, you can continue abusing it.
Totally.
It's not Grave Titan because Grave Titan is
no,
enters 2 zombies, attacks 2 zombies.
But this also has the upside of like what Lion Sash does, where it has that incidental just like burning on an opponent's graveyard, just like keep them off. That kind of stuff.
I mean, we see how powerful Graveyard Trespasser is, right?
Graveyard Trespasser on like steroids here.
Like that's unreal. I never thought Trespasser would be so good, so like these effects have created more value. I see more value in them now that I saw Trespasser work.
Yeah,
right?
getting value plus exile, or like value on top of an exile effect is really an ability I want to start seeing more of because it's necessary for how good graveyards are, but you need to make it good enough to encourage people to play such things.
Right.
Because like we're still barely playing Lion Sash and it's a good card.
Yeah, it's less than $1.
All right.
Sad.
That was all. I just wanted to bring that up.
I think it's more of like people paying mana. If you have to pay mana into the ability, it stops them from doing the things they need to do on their turn. It says, I'm playing on my back foot, where Trespasser is like, I'm going to be hella aggro. I'm going to punch you in the fucking face.
Right.
And I'm going to exile a card, and you're going to take away your card advantage, stuff like that. Like, because you were just talking about that Grixis card, Corpse Appraiser.
Yeah.
Like, is an unreal value engine.
Fucking awesome, yeah. And the fact that it also does that, it's like it is not only a greedy graveyard feeding deck, but it also exiles the card to stop other people from doing it.
Feels really good to hit people's squeeze and hit people's Phoenix Chicks.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's really good. All right. Fuck it. Let's
moving on. We're talking about red.
Got to talk about one of the token chase mythics here, right? Chandra, Hope's Beacon.
Let's do it.
Let's freaking do it. This is why we play Magic, to spend $20 on a card that'll eventually be $5.
Yep. This is 4 and 2 red, legendary planeswalker, Chandra. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. +2. And this is adding 2 loyalty counters to Chandra. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors. +1. Exile the top 5 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell from among those exiled cards. And then -X. Chandra Hope's Beacon deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets. We know that's a powerful ability. She starts with 5 loyalty. Before I go on, we know that's a powerful ability, that -X. We saw it on Jessica, distributing, to deal X damage to 3 targets, not divided.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't have to divide the damage is really where it's like, oh, what?
I'm kind of into this card. One, I just want to know, I'm noticing that we're starting to get higher CMC cards again, but they're actually worth it for once.
Yes.
Which I love. Fuck yeah. That's what we should be doing. But yeah, this is a fucking great card. The static ability is low-key underrated because for 1 less mana, people play double vision, which is exactly what this is.
Yes.
But the plus creates mana. The other plus gets you card advantage. The negative is removal. It is all 3 things you want to be doing in a game of Magic on one permanent.
Yeah.
But addition to that, you also get to twin your first spell every turn. So this is a pretty solid card, I think. But addition, I play in Hello, so I'm looking at it with a lens because this is a fucking awesome in Hello card.
Yeah, we see I think looking down the scope, right? This is a great card. It reads it does a lot of really great things. Chandra's Awakened Chandra Awakened Inferno, is also 6 mana. Also has that static ability, can't be countered, and then it just puts those emblems on a player.
Better.
That don't. Yeah. So is that better than this?
I think this is a better Commander Planeswalker.
Yeah.
Because I think those emblems are a lot more negligible in Commander. But in 1v1, obviously the other Chandra just fucking wins games. It's uncounterable and it just burns you out. This just scales a little better for me.
Yeah, I will dare to agree with you on the better for Commander, and only for the reason that Oko is hated, right? Chandra is also hated, right? The idea of getting one of those emblems is
people hate it.
It's a nightmare.
People are so fucking salty about it.
Right. They go, the rest of the game, this is my life.
Upkeep, I just lose a life. I only have 38 more of those.
Even if you eliminate the player, the emblems stay, which is just disgusting.
That's why I want you to have physical emblems. So you're just you hold on to this. I'll come get it after I'm done.
Yeah. And the problem is that I'll say this one is better because the other one has such a negative feels bad to the rest of the table that this one could actually survive a go around the table. The other one won't. Yeah. Oko doesn't survive
totally.
Go around the table, This
was just very much, hey, I'm just trying to do my thing. It fucking ramps. I need some card advantage. I'm in red, low color red decks. Just let me do my thing.
You can politics your way out of this.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you twin your first spell after ramping to 8 mana and fucking just destroying everybody.
Yeah. You'll twin something like an Exsanguinate for 14.
Yeah, what I love about this is it's not an instant or sorcery. So within Hello, I can cast this and then follow up, especially because she ramps me by 2.
Well, her first trigger is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, copy it.
Right, no, but I'm saying she is not one. So like in Hello, I always run into the issue of like, I want to run a twin spell, but that nerfs the Hello trigger.
Yeah, you're right.
So this kind of actually gets around that. So I'm very excited about that potential.
Nice.
I think that's pretty much all I need to say about it, though. Moving on down the line here.
Yeah, we have an exciting new Praetor, and finally, the respect has been given.
Oh, my bad. I didn't even start with my whole fucking...
Hey, we here.
My structure instantly fell apart. All right, hit me.
We got Urbrask in red. 2/2 red, legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. A 4/4 first strike. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urbrask deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add a red mana. Pay a red mana. Exile Urbrask, then return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery, and only if you've cast 3 or more instants and or sorcery spells this turn. That seems really good. Front side, that seems really good.
I think it's easier than I don't know, maybe not easier than the Sheoldred, but...
I think it's more difficult because you definitely need to have card advantage in order to flip it. But let's read the backside. The great work. The saga that Urbrask turns into. First trigger, the great work deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control.
Jesus.
Second trigger, create 3 treasure tokens. Third trigger, until end of turn, you may cast instants and sorcery spells from any graveyard. If a spell cast this way will be put into a graveyard, exile it instead, exile the great work, and then return it to the battlefield. All right,
this is crazy.
So it goes back to Urbrask. So let me just play out a scenario here for you. Right, everyone is hyped on this card. It is over $15 right now to get.
I think that this is the most fun one for sure.
Yeah, I think I would have wagered that it's the most powerful one. I don't know if that's true anymore.
I think I agree with that.
It's the lowest to the ground, right? So
I mean, it just does the most. Like a one-sided Anger of the Gods followed by 3 treasure tokens, which is like, 30% of your dockside ETBs, and then the third one is just a fucking Yawgmoth's Will.
Yeah, you remember what were you just saying about Chandra, where she gives you card advantage, removal, and and mana. Like, this is what Urbrask does. This is what red is doing in its own specific way, its own unique way. So let me give you a scenario here. You rattle off a few instants and sorceries, and Urbrask just refills your mana pool with that triggered ability, dealing damage to each or to target opponent, adding that mana, and then you fire off your third one. Urbrask puts another red mana in your pool, and you use that red mana because it has no restrictions at all to flip Urbrask and return it to the battlefield transformed. You're going to deal 3 damage to target opponent, each creature they control. Congrats, you've wiped the board. Great. One-sided board wipe. And then on the second one, create those 3 treasure tokens. They're going to stick around because you're going to need them when you go into the third trigger. And you're able to cast instants and sorceries, which you've already cast 3 minimum because you flipped Urbrask. You're going to go ahead and you're going to have 3 treasures in order to cast them again. And by the way, Urbrask is going to be exiled and returned to the battlefield. So every instant and sorcery spell that you cast from the graveyard is going to trigger that ability again, giving you more mana.
Yeah, you get Yawgwill, triggers, and then flips into Burgi.
Yes.
That's pretty much how that works.
Yeah. So that's a great way to put it. So let's say you go ahead, and now that you can cast instants and sorceries from everybody's graveyards, you cast 3 more. And guess what? Urbrask is going to give you red mana after you do that.
Where would you possibly get 3 instants and sorceries from?
Wow, you got me.
All the graveyards that you can now cast from?
Well, let's say you go ahead and you cast 3 more instants and sorceries, and you got a red mana because Urbrask is going to give that shit to you. You pay a red mana, you exile him, you flip him over again, you deal 3 more damage to each opponent and each creature they control.
Right as they started rebuilding, just last turn. Just, nope, another board wipe.
It's self-sufficient. This is that cycle I'm talking about where Urbrask feeds himself so well because in order to meet the conditions to flip him in the first place, he gives you on that third trigger the ammunition to flip him again with literally the wheel has already been greased. right? It's just an automatic thing. I think this design is a little crazy where it's like you get to that third saga or the saga trigger there and flipping back over. That's where it feels a bit broken, which is why this is a minimum $15. So I'm excited for this. I really want to build mono red commander or mono red or Abrask for
God, you should.
For commander.
It's so fucking cool.
It's unbelievably good.
I will say I think these cards are very fun. Mechanically, I think they're very fun, and I think this is the coolest one because it's that static ability is not irrelevant to what the backside does. Where like for say Shouldered is just an ETB sack effect. This is like I said, it's Yogg's Will, which then flips back over, and it's like, oh, that ability that's there is not just apropos of everything else that just happened on the backside of the saga.
Right.
It's fully like just gassing you.
It's I know that Elishnorn will win you the game, right? You're creating 5 3/3s that have double strike.
Yeah.
Right? That's crazy.
Yeah.
You put 30 power on the board, you should win the game. And then if you flip her back over, you can do it again and then have 5 more 3/3s with double strike. So
this is just so much more interesting to me.
Well, notably, this kills those 5 3/3s.
Yeah. Love to hear it.
So this wipes the board. This is like Urbrask's final call, which notably Urbrask did not die in March of the Machines on screen. So there's the chance that he still survives, where all the other Praetors did, spoiler alert, die on screen. I would like finally, this is a character who has been put to shame, like has not been given the respect that he deserves. And finally, we see it here, given the full respect. While he has a 4/4, he does not have haste, but he's potentially replaced with a better keyword, First Strike.
I'm so glad we're just like, okay, he doesn't need to have haste as an identity.
Right.
He can do other cool things.
I will say that Urbrask Heretic Praetor from New Capenna is better than I thought it was. Thank you, Chris, not Chris Ritter, Chris Terrell. Thank you for showing me how good it can be by kicking my ass with it. But it just definitely did not feel like it was strong enough to be considered one of the 5 Praetors, but this does.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is king, I think, of these Praetors.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't have anything about this. I have one last red card to fire off real quick, and we'll move on.
Yep. I got one after that too. Just roll.
Oh, you do yours first.
Okay. Atali Primal Conqueror.
Okay.
Is this the one you were going to talk about? Nope. Oh, sick. Okay. So 5 and 2 red, legendary dinosaur, elder dinosaur notably. 7/7 with trample. When Atali Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana costs. And Atali does not just have red identity. He also has a green identity because you can pay 9 and a green Phyrexian to transform Atali, activate only as a sorcery, and he turns into what people are calling Bite Steel Colossus. It is an 11/11 trample indestructible that deals combat damage to a player. They get that many poison counters. So if you're not familiar, 10 poison counters ends the game.
I love that it's 11, so if you block it with a 1/1, you're still fucked.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So most notably, I want to say that Atali here is a great piece to have in the command zone because it is a great food chain outlet.
Yeah.
If you can get food chain assembled, you win the game.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. Even if you don't have Blightsteel on the back, I think it's still a very cool card. I just saw what happens when you have 4 of them in a deck, and like outside of Commander, it's this Reanimator deck that's playing it. And it was so cool. The first Atali trigger revealed an Atali. So he just played it for free, sacking the first one, and got to just go again.
I'm telling you, we're going to get to the multicolored spell that makes that possible in a second. But yes, I absolutely love this card. And I think it's just
Sonhef and not Telly. Not what he's talking about, but
right.
Crazy. This is really fun. I think it's a fucking awesome card.
Yeah, that's all I got on that.
Sweet. That is also all I have on that. I am trying to make a habit of bringing up at least one color or one battle, of each color. So let's talk about this one that I find interesting. Invasion of Karsus. It is 2 red for a 4 defensive battle. I don't know how to say this yet.
Defense counters is what it is. It's just
4
loopy.
Yeah.
They should.
It's awkward.
I could gripe about it all day.
I just don't even care. It's a 4 thing. So when it ETBs, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, which is a pretty solid mono red wipe right there.
Yeah. Like you said, Anger of the Gods, a little bit more wider scope, but yes.
Yeah, and it doesn't hit players, but yes. Flip that bad boy over, though, and it is a 4/4 ward, pay 2 life, with a pretty sick ability that just says, when you cast a spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent.
Huh?
Just a pretty fucking, like, blankly good ability.
Yeah, if you
No caveats.
If you pulled this in Two-Headed Giant, you
Good game.
You win because it says each opponent. So every time you cast a spell, 4 life lost.
That's actually gross.
Yeah, we lost to it.
Yeah, we did lose to that. Yeah, we got fucking fried to that.
Yeah, we got fried by this card twice. It's not even like it was.
Obviously, it's not. They were not thinking about Two-Headed Giant.
yeah. It's one thing for us to get fried by it once, but the board wipes were out.
Oh my god, that is so true though.
They were so out for us on that day.
But anyway, I just think it's a cool card. Like, we're talking about these mono red storm decks, right? Like, they're becoming better and better and better. Red is just a crazy color, full of gas and potential these days. This seems like a cool payoff. We still want to burn people out and find a way to kill them. This is like, gives me Magecraft vibes, but without needing to be Magecraft.
Yeah, I think the backside is incredible.
Yeah, like that's mostly what I'm going for, is that backside. That back ability is just crazy. But the fact that it's like, yo, board wipe, and then eventually I'll just work my way to that when I want it.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think
on that?
I just think that is in general just the upside of these battles, is finding that like you don't need the flip for it to be good, but if you flip it, you get that added ability.
Right. And timing is everything, right? So these battles, notably like the defense counters or whatever you want to call them, the health points on this thing, there are now effects that say, when you say any target, they become more valuable, right? When you say destroy target non-land permanent, that effect has now become more valuable, right? These battles can stick around and actually be flipped at a more convenient time for you, and when the board state is more in your favor to like go off. So Refraction Elemental is the backside. I think that like when you finally flip this, you're gonna have card advantage enough to just rifle off and end the game.
Right, and I like that. You like you said, you get to choose when you do it. So that's like, I will make sure that I don't have to cast any spells or anything first. I just get to swing, flip, pop off.
Yeah, it's kind of a non-bow with like the way mono red is right now, where they're like Phoenix Chick and like 1-drops, and like that's great because that triggers when you trigger the backside. Yes, you're going to deal 2 damage every single time you do it. But is the Thundering Raiju the thing that's going to like, I guess, yes, it will survive the blast and flip this thing over so you can get that 4/4 on the back. And then do you just recast all of your stuff?
Yeah, I just don't know if that's that deck. To me, this is like more of a spell slinger deck.
That's why I think this is going to find it's going to be hard for it to find a home in anything other than like Commander.
For sure, because... yeah, it's not a mono red card now that I think about it. And like, at least in standard, when you say it like that, yeah, it definitely would have to have other cards supporting it. I just don't think there's like a Spellslinger archetype that's valuable right now in like a standard meta. So
not enough speed.
Not enough. Not when, like you said, Phoenix Chick and all that shit. It just
dies to this.
All right, but that's fucking it. Let's move on.
All right, moving on to the weakest Praetor in the set.
And the worst color.
Shut up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I love green. Okay. Vorinclex. Hi, Vorinclex.
Hi.
Vorinclex, would you like to read yourself?
Hi. I am Vorinclex. I am constantly depressed because I am part of the worst color. But we have a cool new body. Let's check this out. 3 green for just straight up Vorinclex. 6/6 trample reach. ETB, search a library for 2 forest cards. Put them into your hand, not even on the battlefield.
Oh,
absolute.
Oh my god.
Absolute laws, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the first time. I'm gonna be honest. This is the first time I'm reading this card.
Me too.
And I thought it was bad, but that's really fucking bad.
Oh my god.
That's really bad. Think about all of the other Praetors we've already talked about. This is already...
Wait, let's read the backside so we know. Let's hope it feeds itself, right?
All right, you're right. So to make this redeemable, let's spend 8 mana, and we will flip it over after spending 5 mana to get... Let's spend 8 more mana for a total of 13. To then do what? We will mill 10 cards, and then we'll put 2 cards from among those 10 onto the battlefield.
Eesh. Okay, that's
Already a nerfed ability from the past of putting him from your graveyard onto the
you should just be able to pull any creature from the graveyard.
So I hope you don't fucking whiff for spending 13 mana. You better have 2 creatures in the top 10, otherwise you're absolutely fucked.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll distribute 7 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures you control. Hope your opponent doesn't have a 1 mana bounce spell to completely undo that. 3, until end of turn, each creature or creatures you control gain pay 1 mana, so you have to spend more mana to make this good. This creature fights target creature you don't control. Oh my god.
And then return this back, and then you get to search your library for 2 more.
You do get to search for 2 more forests that go right to your hand. Don't put them on the battlefield. What the fuck? So you have to get all the way here. We've already invested 13. Now you have to spend an additional mana to have a creature fight a creature, right? So that is 1 creature removed from the battlefield. I would like to point you to shoulder that we just discussed.
Yes.
How many more creatures get removed for so much less mana?
Yep.
Oh my god, this is bad.
This doesn't do so you know how for a long time I think we looked at blue and green and we're like, okay, blue and green is outrageous. You know, like Oko came out and then we're just like, they're running the format. You know, you get Kinnan, you're just like, that was the competitive scene, right?
And there was like with black too, like, you know, we had that was running for a long time.
And they were like, we need to, like, questing beast too. It was like crazy. So they were like, you know what? We need to actually bolster white, make green weaker. So let's do it and let's commit to it for 3 years.
They committed, all right, white good, green bad.
Yes, that's what they're trying to do. Well, obviously, there's still great green cards. We're going to talk about a couple like beyond this, right? But this, by far, is the worst of the Praetors, and I'm a liar. I'm a liar, right? I'm not lying about what I just said, but what I am lying about is the fact that all these Praetors are self-sufficient. Let's just say that 4 of the 5 are self-sufficient, because let's just say if Vorinclex entered the battlefield, search for 2 forests, basic forests, let's just say basic forests, right? Just to like nerf it a little bit and put them onto the battlefield tapped, what that would do is set you up so that you would have 8 mana if you hit your land drop, so you could flip Vorinclex and get to the saga on the backside, right? That
makes sense.
And
green likes to hit their land drops.
It is not overpowered.
No.
Not even in the slightest.
Not when you flip it over at all.
Right. So you're going to pay 8 mana, take a full fucking turn off, and you're going to go ahead and trigger this mill 10 cards and put 2 creatures from among them. So, yeah, you better not whiff on hitting your Atraxa. Your whole deck is going to be full of fatties because you want this. You're playing this card.
Right.
Right? You want this ability to work.
But, like, let's say you get 1. I think you're going to get 1. Right?
Okay, a Land War Elf. Great.
You pay 8 mana for 1. Past the turn, I'm tapped out. Don't do anything to my 1 creature. I need that next turn because I'm about to put 7+1/+1 counters on something. I hope you don't fucking remove that.
Yeah, the 1 mana bounce spell is way too common. You know, like Fading Hope. Yeah, you're going to, like, it's more than just a name. It's a feeling.
Yes. I know. It's so aptly named.
Yep.
And then you get to the third one. It's like, finally, I have my, my creature. I put the 7 counters on it. Pay the 1, I fight 1 thing.
Better hope you don't have that fucking bounce spell.
Oh, Jesus
2 Fading
Christ.
Hope in your hand.
Just terrible.
It's terrible. And then here's the thing, is that like the other Praetors, when they flip back over, they gave you the gas you needed in order to flip it again. You are probably going to have 8 mana because you had it in the first place. So enters the battlefield, get 2 more lands. Go ahead and flip it again. You get 2 more creatures. Guess what? They probably don't have haste, or they probably don't have you don't have the innate ability down to do that. Are you gonna, are you gonna tutor out a Concordant Crossroads, or are you gonna leave that to, Lady Luck to make sure you get that in your opening hand?
Oh,
like that's what we're looking at here, is like there's a lot of setup, like, and it's not even like justifiable at all. Mm-hmm. There's no justified setup here that would allow this to be a good card ever.
What's funny is, like, at 4, we think Yasharn's great. Like, Yasharn fucking cracks. And it does essentially the same thing on its face.
And then it also slows the game down.
Its other ability is still better than all of the other shit stapled to the backside of this card.
Yes. It is
actually
combat.
insane.
Like, I just hate to say it, unless you're playing stacks, combat doesn't win games anymore. Like it just like the aggressive strategy, 40 life and commander, you're not gonna get there. Like I'm sorry, they're gonna stop you before you get there. One board wipe completely opens the game up because you're gonna need to take 2 or 3 turns to reset because your creatures don't have the innate ability of having haste. I hate this, right? So let's move on.
And that's our time. We spent so much time shitting on Vorinclex that we have no time left.
He sucks. Like, just
he's so bad.
Just like think about it. Just even for a second. Like, could you make it good? No, I can't make it.
I've been
good.
thinking about it. I can't make it good.
Like, why didn't they make Invasion of Kaldheim green so that you could abuse his ability to like discard forests or discard lands to like deal 2 damage to any target?
And then it fits with the whole Wrenn and Realmbreaker thing.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes.
No.
Well, speaking of Wrenn and Realmbreaker.
Speaking of Wrenn, when in Wrenn.
All right. 1 and 2 green. When in Rem. For legendary planeswalker, Wrenn. Static ability is great. Lands you control have tap and 1 mana of any color. That's what the World Tree does, if anyone didn't know.
Snap. I didn't.
Yeah, story spotlight here. Wrenn merges with Realmbreaker.
Whoa. Is that why
Wow.
he's like inside of him? Right
Realmbreaker is the Phyrexianized World Tree.
Whoa.
Boom.
So you need to know like 3 layers of lore to understand what's going on.
You know, 3 words.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
+1. Up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn. It's still a land. We know that ability is good. We saw it on Nissa Who Shakes the World, except those lands did not stop being creatures, which was busted.
True.
-2. Mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among the milled cards into your hand.
Among the milled cards. It is just the great nerfing of green.
I will say this one is just better than Vorinclex because you don't. There's no circumstance other than it just being a permanent.
It's a 3-mana card. The static ability is already better than anything Vorinclex has to offer.
And you didn't have to pay 13 mana to do it.
It actually +1 actually generates the creature you're looking for to this first place. Neg 2 gives card advantage. The next 7, go ahead.
You get an emblem with you may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard.
And yet another Yogg-Will. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Notably, here's the deal. Everyone loves green cards that double things, and doubling season is great with this. You're instantly going to get that ultimate so that you can...
And at 3 mana to come down and like ult out of that's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah. So now for the rest of the game, you can play lands.
It actually is
cast permanent spells from your graveyard because guess what? It's a permanent spell. So even if you did kill it, like by ulting, like your opponents kill it, it's like, oh sweet, I'll just cast it again.
Yeah, I mean it's a green Yogg-Will, but better because it hits anything. They don't get exiled. And you have it for the rest of the game. Like that is fucking insane, actually.
Yeah, that actually, I'm pretty sure that wins the game. Maybe that's why it's $40.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I just always figure that rent is $40 no matter what. Okay, that's all for green. Just kidding. I obviously keep talking about these battles because they...
Well, there's one that's exceedingly good.
The Zendikar one? No, I'm just kidding. It's obviously the Invasion of Ikoria. It's the one card you like.
Yeah. It's
Finale of Devastation.
Yeah, Finale of Devastation.
It's an extremely good green card.
Yes.
This is a slightly less good green card.
Yeah, it's X and 2 green. So same as Finale. It's a battle siege. When Invasion of Ikoria enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle.
Ooh, make sure to shuffle it. Okay, so I mean, I was hyping this up before, and I still feel like it is great, but it's not like great, you know?
No, the hype on it. So here's the thing: the hype on it was big. I think that when the set came out, it dropped for less than $5. And so if you bought it for less than $5, congratulations. It won't be less than $5, but it rose to 15 and then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's back down to 10. So we don't really know what's happening with this card and its fluctuation, how powerful it is, because it has 6 defense counters as well. And it flips into Zilotha, Apex of Ikoria. So that's our first actual canon seeing. We're seeing it for the first time. Yeah. So Lord, an 8/8 reach for each non-human creature you control. You may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. So it ends the game. Great, right? Because you just went and searched for a creature that's going to help you do that. There's no benefits of pumping infinite mana into it.
No, yeah, you don't get that top end of doing it. It still does hit from the graveyard too, which is great. And obviously just these 2 battlefield creature tutors are generally very powerful. But we're actually at a point where I think that you only have so many slots in your deck. We're at a point where there are so many good options that I don't even know if this actually fits in. Like, where in your decks, in your Naya decks, in your Simic decks, do you find another spot for this? Obviously, you're not taking out Finale of Devastation. You still have, your Eldritch Evolutions that's got to stay in there.
It's way better.
Like, it is way better. So I just don't know where this is going to fit in because we're already not playing Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah, when you're talking about, like fitting in, I'm sitting over here and I'm shaking my head because there is no slot for this, right?
We don't play Green Sun Zenith. We don't play fucking Summoner's Pact. Like, there's a ton, very few decks do.
Yeah, there's now, I'll talk about it in multicolor, but now there's a deck that I'm interested in building that, does benefit from Summoner's Pact. So, you know what? Hell, I might go fucking put it in the deck. Like, that, it seems like a really great idea to win the game. But the amount of mana I have to sink into it, not great.
Yeah, it's like the evolution cards let you cheat the mana, obviously, at the cost of sacrificing a body, and then the Devastation already has so much top end to offer you.
Right.
Like, outside of that ability, that's like flipping this over after dealing 6 damage to this, you're never gonna fucking do that.
Yeah, the Finale Devastation, obviously, great card. Saw it right off the bat. The thing is, if you have infinite mana, it just says you win the game. You go search for anything and you win the game. This doesn't have that top end, which is a problem for its value and how it contributes to the competitive meta and how that's going to shape out. I can see where people might tech this in. Hey, it's another tutor. Hey, I can pay 4 mana and have a dockside.
Yeah, I just think you're at the point now. It's you're probably mono green if you're playing this. Maybe low color, low color green decks, 2 color green decks maybe.
It does have that limit where it says non-human. They're obviously drawing that line in the sand because that was part of the theme of Ikoria. It's
right,
humans and non-humans.
That's right.
But here, notably, it does restrict you from grabbing certain combo pieces. So if you're playing 5 colors and you want to play this, I'm not going to do that. I've got to play.
Yeah, nope. There's no way.
Nope, I'm going to play Court of Calling instead.
Too many good cards exist for you to be playing 5 colors in this card that's not good enough.
Yes.
This is not even top 300 cards for you to be playing.
There you go. That is the statement. If you want to tag this card with a statement, it is not even in the top 300 cards that you should be playing in Commander.
Boom. You can quote me on that. All right. Fuck green. Let's move on. Unless you have anything else.
Ozolith is cool, but that's it.
Oh, yeah. Ozolith.
That's
it, though.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. If you want to know what it does, go fucking look it up online.
Yep.
All right. Colorless. We're talking about Sword of Once and Future. I honestly feel the same way as because we're completing 2 cycles now. You know what? I'm realizing that. We're completing the Omnath cycle and we're completing the Sword of Blank and Blank cycle.
Hey!
And I feel the same way about both of them. I just don't care by the end of it.
I didn't really care for Forge and Frontier. I don't think it's a great card. It might be good in Standard. I don't know.
I just think we saw the fall or the rise of it, the hype of it. Same with Omnath. Everybody got on that hype train. We love seeing the swords. We started playing a ton of them, and it's so exciting when new ones come out. And it's just years of lackluster mechanics and stuff.
It's led to lazy design.
Yeah, exactly. It's lazy design and just and then therefore I'm not super interested in it. The last Omnath, not super interested in it. New Omnath, not super interested in it. I will say I do think this sword is probably better than the last 2 swords that came out.
Yeah, I Hearth and Home and Forge and Frontier.
Yeah, I think Hearth and Home.
Because they're Naya cards.
Hearth and Home. That's hilarious. A great example is Hearth and Home. Look how generic this fucking card is. You were we need to put some mechanics on this card because, dude, my homework was due yesterday, apparently. So, I don't know. Look for a land in ETB. I don't know. Good? Okay.
Oh, my God. That seems like it's powerful enough. And then this one too. It's basically it's what's that card? It's 2 blue mana, instant from Guilds of Ravnica, but it's Surveil 2, and then you may cast an instant or sorcery from your graveyard.
With mana value 2 or less.
Like mission briefing. Yeah. So mission briefing, yes. Great memories we have on it.
We did it.
So this is basically a repeatable mission briefing. It says, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Surveil 2, then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its cost. That's exactly what mission briefing does. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So notably, all of these swords cost 3 mana. They equip for 2. That is like the little tagline. That's how we characterize them. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from blue and black. So we have 10 of these. And I think to like reinforce your point of like Omnath and the sword cycle finishing, at one point or another in these cycles, they created a version that was so powerful, Feast and Famine.
Yep.
Omnath, four-color Omnath. And they went, oops. And then they dialed it way back to be like, yeah, we can't really do that again because those cards are $90. If we, it's like that's kind of like the deal. Is like these cards are so powerful, we're having to ban them in formats so that they can't be abused anymore. So
untap all your lands and make somebody discard a card is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's like really hard to justify putting that level of effect on every single one. So
for sure. And I'm not asking for like tons of power level, nor do I think they should be that powerful. But like, I won't say this is more unique because, like you said, it is just a different card stapled to this effect.
Yes.
But I will say that this sword is inherently more interesting to me than Sword of Hearth and Home and anything like that.
Forge and Frontier was very boring.
Yeah.
Well.
Like this is like actually a good ability. Casting something from your graveyard is a great ability. And it's an attack trigger on a spell slinger kind of effect.
Or combat damage trigger.
Yeah, sorry, a combat damage trigger. So you're attacking. Like it's a combat focused ability with, a spell slinger effect. And it's like there's a dichotomy there that I find interesting. I don't know. I think it's definitely more interesting than fucking flicker and search for a basic. Yeah, fuck yourself.
Well, even after that, the only thing I've ever asked and the only thing I've ever wanted, you can record that's on record, is for Chris Ron to finish the fucking cycle.
The last two. Why? Quick question. Why?
I'm pissed.
I'm freaking pissed too, dude.
It's like
maybe that's when I officially checked out.
Yeah, well, you can clearly see that this artist wanted to emulate and pay respect to Chris Ron. They did their best. I get it is beautiful.
It's fine.
It's a good artwork. The Forge and Frontier was not good, but this one is at least good enough to where you can go.
Yeah, shout out to the other artist, the Forge and Frontier artist, for making truly a depressing piece of artwork to look at.
Made me really want Chris Ron back.
I hope that wasn't offensive.
Baby, come back.
All right, last colorless thing to talk about. It's better than this card. It's called Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree. I believe Evelyn was talking there's some relation to Ren.
Ren and Rem.
One and Rem. Classic MoxStars bit.
All right.
This is a 3 mana bitch. It's a legendary artifact. Let's go. 2, you tap it, target opponent mills 3 cards, and you get to put a land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield. Tap.
Hey, this is that limitation that we were
lifted.
Limited, or they lifted the limitation
for a colorless card.
Yes.
So green gets fucking nerfed, and they have to get lucky. They have to roll that fucking wheel, and hopefully they get the right ticker.
Yep.
But this is just mill it and freaking rip it in colorless for less mana. I'm still mad about it. Anyway, this is really cool because you were paying 2 mana to steal people's lands.
Yeah, and notably, it says land in their graveyard. So had they already used a fetch, guess what? You have a fetch waiting for you in their graveyard, and you may have milled their Underworld Breach, which is, like a really great side effect to that.
Oh, yeah. So it keeps gassing itself, right? It keeps fueling the potential to keep hitting lands. But on top of that, you're just fucking up strategies.
You are also enabling Underworld Breach if you do not hit Underworld Breach.
There is also that. But God, that's just a really good colorless ability, dude. I fuck with that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even stop there. Well, to finish that line of text, it also says that land gains if this land would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. So it does keep you from abusing the same fetch over and over again from your opponents. But it also says you can pay 10 mana, tap it, sacrifice it, and then search your library for any number of Praetor cards, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Were we just talking about really good Praetor cards?
We were, but I'll be honest, I read 10 and tap and I stopped reading. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a riff on the World Tree. So this is, Realmbreaker is the Phyrexianized World Tree from the story. And
the World Tree puts all the gods into play. This puts all the okay.
Yes, so though it is 10 colorless mana instead of requiring double Wooburg. So a little bit better. You can see it.
That's
right?
just never happening. But the 2-tap steal a land, I think, is awesome.
I think it'll happen.
It won't, but that is awesome. I mean, yeah, you have to build a deck that tries to get that much mana and have enough Praetors to make it even worthwhile.
All you got to do is play stacks.
That's true.
Yeah.
Another pull quote for this episode.
You just got to play stacks and you'll win fucking game.
All right, fucking Christ. We have one last category to get through, and that is multicolored.
It's multicolored.
And then after today, we will never talk, speak of, or think about this set again.
I'm exhausted, dude.
I want to throw up. All right, moving on. We have Baral and Kari Zev. I think this is a fun, nifty little commander here. It's obviously you can play it in other formats and shit, but it's a 3-mana human that does some interesting stuff. Surprisingly not a wizard, I don't know why. It says 1 blue-red for a legendary creature human. First strike menace, 2/4. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost.
I'm still looking for the card. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's right. I'm reading it. You can hear it. Historically, cheating mana cost, very good. Love to see it. If you don't do that, you get to create First Mate Ragavan, a legendary 2/1 red monkey pirate creature token. Does not make a treasure when he attacks. That's all he does. But he does gain haste until end of turn. I think there's some pretty interesting potential here, just lots of gross spell slingery value, playing a 5-mana spell into a 4-mana spell, and you're gonna start running away pretty quick with that.
Yeah, I actually dig this card.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
Creating creatures is a side effect for that's the thing, is that most of the time when you have effects like this, it's going to require you to have that thing in your hand in order to get the payoff. Like the expertise, which I'm riff that in here real quick. But the expertise cards require you to have a card in hand in order to be able to play it for free. This says, you know what? If you don't even have that, if you don't meet the requirements, you still create a 2/1.
Yeah, you get a little something.
You still get a little something out of it.
Yeah.
So most notably, they have an effect that sort of extrapolates on their expertise from way back.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So this creature has expertise, but.
Wow. Okay, I didn't pick that up. I like that actually.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of cool, and I could definitely see 5-mana extra turn spell. I just think you got to make sure you're cheating out draw spells because you are just burning up your hand with this card.
Yeah. You're not getting. That's the thing, I guess, is it doesn't refill your hand.
0 card advantage.
But for 3 mana, if it refilled your hand, it would be
fucking busted.
It'd be busted.
That would be a CDH commander for sure. I am notably putting this into my Hello deck. I'm very excited about it because we love some spell slingery nonsense. And fuck, do I love sacrificing 2 power creatures.
Yes, you do.
So this is pretty dang good. Every time, or whenever I cast my first instant sorcery spell, if I don't want to drop something from my hand, I'll just get a free token to sack to Hello. Love to see it.
Yes, sir. The next card in multicolored, Halo Forager.
Yo.
1, a blue and a black. It is a fairy rogue, 3/1 flying. Whenever Halo Forager enters the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from your graveyard without paying from a graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
What?
So it's
okay.
It's worse than Snapcaster, but it's better for that one reason.
Yeah, without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. So, Jordan said it. Snapcaster.
It's pretty much Snapcaster. It doesn't have flash.
That is a big reason why Snapcaster is powerful, but...
It's 1 more mana with an extra pip of color.
But I feel like we can't just reprint Snapcaster.
You can't reprint Snapcaster.
Yeah,
not
like,
straight up.
Yep. So this is a really great utility piece that I think doesn't have that big of a like. There isn't like many requirements that are going to be needed to be met in order to fulfill this.
No, and
ability.
I will say, like, they gave you some stuff to. They were like, I recognize that I can't give you Snapcaster, but here's what I can do for you.
Right.
You know, you get a decent body on a flyer, which is nice. That's going to start pressuring life totals as a control deck, which I'm guessing you would be in this setting.
Yep.
And it allows you to hit any graveyard. That lets you reach outside of your color. That lets you get burn spells from red. You know, that gives a lot of flexibility to play into maybe a long game situation here. I think it's a good card. I don't think we should give up hope on it. But that being said, I already feel like Snapcaster is kind of phasing out and has been for a while now.
Yeah. Well, I think here the Halo Forager, where it does get better is when it enters the battlefield, you may pay X. It doesn't say when you cast this card and it enters
That's a great point.
When this enters the battlefield, if you cast it, pay X. Like there is a little bit of abuse to be had here, like a
100%.
Displacer Kitten deal. You know? So like,
bro, I mean, we keep talking about
as long as you have the
Kitten.
colorless, you can just feed it right in.
That's actually fucking great, bro, because then it's just like, I don't know, play my Mana Rock, flicker this, trigger.
It's actually not the worst reanimate if someone's already tried to add Nas and it's just sitting in their grave or they milled it or for whatever reason, and you're sitting there with an Underworld Breach, or they're waiting for the Underworld Breach to win the game or something. Just like take their Adnos from their graveyard.
Yeah.
They're like, reanimate this.
God, yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I like that effect a lot. I would also like to talk about another blue-black creature. This one's legendary, and it also does some shenanigans with instants and sorceries. I've been having a lot of fun lately. These are all my favorite things to do. Blue, black, red, instant, sorcery, fuckery.
Yeah, you have been wanting to talk about this one ever since it was like spoiled. I
think it's just an interesting play pattern. If you're looking at it as a CDH thing, you can also play this in 1v1 4-of formats and still actually have some success I've seen as well. There's some cool fucking combos you can do actually. But this is Hidetsugu and Kairi. 2 blue, blue, black. So 5 mana for an Ogre Demon Dragon. Goddamn right, it's an Ogre Demon Dragon. That's so hot.
It's a very cool typing.
5/4 flying. I love to see flying on this. It's going to be pushing some damage. It says ETB. You get to brainstorm. Draw 3, put 2 back. That's pretty cool. And we've been talking about Displacer Kitten all the fucking time. This is just a great incidental Displacer Kitten value engine. But then the real part is the second ability here. When it dies, exile the top card of your library. Target opponent loses life equal to its mana value. If it's an instant or sorcery card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So this just tells me that...
Whoa.
I just think of this kind of card, like mechanic, as just kind of like a hairpin trigger. Like you have it set up, you've set your trap, right? He's here on the battlefield, you've manipulated the top of your library, and now it's just like, I don't need to do anything. The pin will drop and everything will fall. The dominoes will start falling in my favor, and then I will start proceeding to win game. And that's what I really like about it, is it's something that doesn't really force the point, and it just wins when it wins. Obviously interruptible and the such, but whatever. That's not what we're talking about here. I just like, there's top of deck tutors are always our worst tutor until you get to cast the top fucking card of your library for free. So, in response to this, Mystical Tutor, put an Ad Nauseam on top. Vampiric Tutor, put an Ad Nauseam on top. This is just, or Appear into the Abyss, whatever, flavor you like.
Yeah, top deck manipulation here.
Top deck manipulation, and it's just fucking awesome. So the combo I was seeing was, you're adding red to this in a 4-of format, and I forget what the spell is, but the 10 mana spell that deals 10 damage to any target. And
yep, can't remember.
But the great thing, so they go from 20 life to 0 in one freaking resolution of this trigger. So it is so cool.
That's hot.
Yeah, I love it. That's all I'm gonna say.
He loves it.
I love it. I just like those things where I can play this, set up the top, and be like, oh yeah, I just have my my little sacrifice outlet here.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's this thing with every Magic player. You see things differently as you read them, because I develop strategies that Jordan wouldn't develop, and he developed strategies that I wouldn't. I read this card and I was like, yeah, I don't really see how good it is. I don't see how it can be amazing. But you've already looked into it and you've already seen its full potential. Looked into it, studied it, researched it. Yeah, I'm honestly like I think it's a way better card than I did before. Now that you've explained yourself, we're not even going to talk about this Omnath because it's just
I don't want to talk about it.
it's just ass.
Look it up.
You know, yeah, look it up if you really want to know about it, but it sucks. My multicolored card, and I think this is where I have two. Invasion of Amonkhet. It is
gotta talk about it.
amazing.
Probably the best invasion I've seen yet.
Yeah, I think it is the best invasion from the set. And like I'm not like sugarcoating it or anything because it's one, a blue and a black. When it enters the battlefield, each player mills 3 cards, then each opponent discards a card and you draw a card. So it's a 2-for-1 right there.
That's a very good ability on the front side.
Yep. It really is unreal because after that, what you're going to do is if you flip as 4 defense counters, if you're able to flip it, it's going to enter as Lazotep. Oh, God, what's the name? Lazotep Convert. Yep. So it comes in and it's a 4/4. You may have Lazotep Convert enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard, except it's a 4/4 black zombie in addition to its other types. So it's a play on the whole eternalize.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fuck, it's so good, dude.
It's absolutely great. And I'm glad they were able to like bring a little bit of Scarab God flavor into this set because this is the level of power that I'm talking about and why I think it's underrated is because Scarab God was 5 mana with a 4 mana ability that was repeatable that helped you develop and win the game. We're already seeing Covert Go Blue go ahead and start to abuse this card in similar ways to the way that like Scarab God was abused.
Right.
So if you can flicker this, that's the thing. So these battles, if you flicker them, they return as battles. And if this enters the battlefield again, it's like, great, I'm going to, we're each going to mill. I'm going to draw a card. You're going to lose a card from your hand, and then flip it back over, get another copy of something.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. For an uncommon and potentially...
God, yeah, for an uncommon too.
Yeah, for this potentially the strongest battle in a 1v1 format, like, I really am impressed with this card.
We keep talking about how good Reanimator is right now, and that is mostly because of how quality of ETBs we have available to us right now.
This was the card that Jordan was talking about, or that we said we would come around to when we were talking about Atali, is that if you're playing that deck, the Grixis deck that CGB was playing, then you create a copy of Atali in your graveyard, and then it flips, and then you flip an Atali, and you play another Atali.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and so ETBs are so good that this entering as a copy of something in the graveyard essentially means you get to cheat the cost of an ETB. As long as it's in the graveyard and you flip this over, which is so fucking easy to do that, we've talked about multiple today. We have Atraxa. We have the new Atraxa. We have the Hoarding Broodlord,
That's disgusting. The new Atraxa would be disgusting.
In the colors, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, Hoarding Broodlord, same fucking thing,
Tutor.
Yeah, this is such a good ability. And I love that we have the clone abilities in blue and we have some of this graveyard stuff in black, but this is just a new ability we haven't really seen yet. We haven't quite touched this. We have the Necrotic Ooze that lets us get the activated abilities, and we're starting to have those things. Whatever that black one that came out in the 40K thing, the black artifact guy.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a new stretch, a new reach for this kind of dynamic or its archetype that lets us steal that ETB and just have an awesome creature from our battle or from our graveyard.
From any graveyard.
From any graveyard, bro. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
That was why Scarab God was so insane, right?
Right.
It's like you exile a card from the graveyard and then you get the creature. So that's why I'm so stoked about it, and I'm excited to watch that CGB video later. All you did was conceptualize it to me, and it just it really does click. But I also played the card, and it won me games. It
wins games. 1v1 that facing ability is insane.
Yeah, so I played Grixis Good Stuff in my pre-release, and that's when I played this, and I had
good man.
Yeah, I had Kroxa in my deck.
Let's go.
So even though he's Mardu, there were a lot of treasure creation cards in this set. Plus, I had the greatest reanimation spell in a limited format in my deck, and it was this. It was literally, I got...
with the Kroxa? Fuck.
Yeah, I got Duressed, or the battle that duresses, and they saw my Kroxa in my hand, and they made me discard it, and I said, I have 1 card in my entire library that can pull that from the graveyard, and I picked it up the next turn.
Oh, let's go. You love to see it.
Yeah, and so I milled more cards, and then what this does, it fed that Kroxa ability. So later on in the game, when I finally flipped it, I created a copy of Kroxa, got the Croxa trigger, reanimated a Croxa, got another trigger. You know, it's like,
God.
yeah,
Oh.
it's really good.
Love to see it.
I think is really, really powerful card. I'm rambling now. Let's move on.
What else you got? I'm about done here.
Yeah, I've got Heliod.
Did we not talk about this in the white set?
No, because he's multicolored, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, so is like Atali. We talked about in the red set.
Oops. Did we just not do it?
I felt like we did talk about it.
Oh God, we're so tired. I can't even remember.
I don't even remember. Did we talk about this, guys?
Well, anyway,
I'll wait for your reply.
let's just do one more multicolor, and it won't be Heliod. I want to talk about Shalai and Halar.
There we go.
Because it's from the Commander set, and it is my new CDH Commander. It is amazing.
It's amazing.
It's a Naya creature, so it's 1 and then a red, green, and a white for a 3/3 flying vigilance angel elf that says, whenever you would put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, Shalai and Alar deal 1 damage to target opponent. So the beautiful thing here is that there are a few combos with it. One with Heliod Suncrowned. So whenever Heliod says, pay 1 and a white, give target creature lifelink until end of turn. And so if you has flying and vigilance, all you need to do is be able to poke over the top, and then you gain life. So you put a +1/+1 counter on Shalai and Alar. That's going to trigger Shalai and Alar to deal 1 damage to each opponent. And guess what? Shalai and Alar have lifelink, so you're going to infinitely burn the table and kill everybody. It's amazing. For 2-card combos to exist like that, you can do it with Academy Rector. You can get the Heliod from the library.
Yep.
You know, it's one of the easier combos to like set up. So the Red Terror is another thing that whenever a red source you control deals damage to an opponent, put a +1/+1 counter on the Red Terror. Shalai and Alar is going to see that you put a +1/+1 counter on the Red Terror, so it's going to deal damage. And guess what? It is a red source. So, boom. Red Terror is going to get infinite +1/+1 counters. Shalai and Alar is going to kill the table.
Yeah, I think this is really cool because you get to do all the stuff you're already doing and have been doing in CDH in Naya. But in addition to that, you get to add 2 1-card win conditions, essentially. That's how I looked at it in Malcolm with Glinthorn Buccaneer, right? It's just, once I find that, I already have Malcolm, good to fucking go. So now it's like, you benefit from the typing of Heliod because now you get to search via enchantment or for creature.
And guess what? I love enchantments.
And you love enchantments, so you're already doing that. You're already playing, the Rector and stuff like that too.
Yep.
But he's also a creature, so you can also just use creature tutors for that. And then same with the Red Terror. It's like just 1 creature tutor away from winning the game at any moment.
And now this is where it gets spicy. This is a food chain commander as well, because now whenever I put a +1/+1 counter on something, I'm going to deal 1 damage with Shalai and Alar. So there are spells like enchantments like Rhythm of the Wild that give your non-token creatures rights. So they're going to enter the battlefield, and you'll choose to put a +1/+1 counter on them, and Shalai and Alar will see that and boom, 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 kill the table. So if you're food chaining with Squeer or Eternal Scourge, they're going to have Riot every time they enter the battlefield, and so they'll get a +1/+1 counter. You'll have infinite mana to infinitely cast those creatures, kill the table. And same goes with Good Fortune Unicorn. So you can start to assemble, not only do you have the 2-card combos necessary to win the game, you now also have 3-card combos that are just good stuff in the deck that just enable things. You're already going for the food chain, so you're building an Enchantress shell. So the fact that you can also get away with just casting Squee infinitely for the dub is a pretty great side effect.
Yeah, I think this is really rad. I'm excited to see this deck. I just think you just keep getting more and more good stuff lately for Naya, and this is just fucking awesome.
This has legs to it, and I haven't been excited. I mean, I really have just wanted to make Zakama work for a long time, and I feel like this is the deck that I built for Zakama to exist within. The deck, this just does it.
It's like 4 different cards, and it works a lot better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more consistent. So
yeah, I think so. And all of these one-off combos and stuff, it's not like they're playing tons of bad cards for like A+B combos. Everything layers and synergizes extremely well. One thing runs into the next, and they just work together, and it feeds your enchantments. And
you're playing Walking Ballista because
exactly,
you're already playing Heliod in there.
Yeah, and like those decks already play that combo, and now you're playing it because now you're playing Ballista because your Heliod already combos with your commander, which is a way better spot to be at.
Yeah.
That's way better. So yeah, I think this does have legs, and you're already going to be playing your stacks and stuff and everything. So having a flying vigilance 3/3 also, it's pretty fucking sick.
Yep, pressure life totals.
+1/+1 counters are going to be flying around, and there's tons of stuff there. You have the new Ozolith. I don't know if you're going to use that. Then you have like just like incidental value. Esper Sentinel is going to be there, so you're put a counter on that. You know, that's just there's counters flying fucking everywhere.
Right.
I think this is going to be a really cool deck.
Totally. But that's all I got for today. Anything left for you, Jordan?
That's all I got. I just got to say, this is a cool set. I got to give it to Wizards. This is like, there's tons of stuff to talk about. I think there's lots of formats that are going to be feeling the effects of it. And it's actually going to be touching our format, which is rare and interesting. You know, it's CDH doesn't get tons of influx, but I feel like multiple cards in this set we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, it's rare that, you know, we can actually contribute cards to the pool of 300. You know, I think that maybe that could be the tagline of it, you know, the 300.
Ooh.
But, yeah, right?
You guys just witnessed the creation of something.
Is this card in the 300? And that can be a question we pose. But it's very rare to see it. I feel like they just threw a ton of shit in a set and we're like, is this balanced? We don't care. You know, and then that was exactly how pre-release ended up happening.
That is the vibe I got distinctly.
Yeah, so like I had no idea what the synergies were at all. They're like, you have incubation, good, cool, +1/+1 counter synergies, and then everything else is just if you didn't get green, white, +1/+1 counter, backup, whatever nonsense, you're just sitting there shooting from the hip. You're like, I hope this fucking works.
And then someone just pulls like 6 gold cards and then it's like plays that and makes it work, and you're like, wow, you just fucking had everything.
Yeah, it turns out you could pull a Ragavan at pre-release.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, the chaos of this set was fun.
Scooping to turn 1 Ragavan.
Yeah, I would have. All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you'd like to find more of the MoxStars podcast, you can do so in the description below. Remember to like, subscribe, and ding that little bell for notifications.
Rate us on those podcast platforms, y'all.
Hey! Help us with the algorithm.
The great algorithm.
But yeah, I'm ready. I'm tired, man. This really does take it out of you.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us, y'all. We turned 1 episode into 2. This is the end of part 2, so we once again never have to think of or talk about this set ever again.
Hell yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. Peace.